Okay everybody, so what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. The vehicle you are about to see is a 96 Toyota Tacoma. I came out and diagnosed this vehicle about a week and a half ago. It is a crank start stall, meaning it starts and stalls kind of like a security issue, but this vehicle doesn't have security. So it's a known problem in Identifix world. So we came out, diagnosed. I told him he needed an igniter. Now, this is a nice guy. I allow him to buy parts every once in a while. And that's when I tell him what to buy. This time he did not. He bought this online somewhere. I have no idea where, but he paid like $30-something for the igniter. This thing's a piece of junk. It doesn't work. You're gonna see everything in the video. I don't talk to you guys that much. That's why I'm talking to you now. So enjoy the video, and then I'll talk to you again at the end. All right, so I'll see you in a few minutes, but let me know what you guys think. Shut that off. Let's put you in this pocket. There we go. All right, let's go get to work. All right, guys, this is our step here. Here's our igniter. Customer bought one online. I don't know where. So we're gonna get some wiring diagrams pulled up. We're gonna check some basics, and we're gonna go from there.
My biggest customer for about 20 years was Goodman. You know, the Goodman stuff. Heating air conditioning. And they got bought by Gigantic, Japanese company.
Okay.
And they built gigantic.
We're gonna do all data, and we are going to do Solera, which is Identifix.
I used to tease my Texas.
I am getting bit up by something today. There's ants on the ground, but man, I got mosquito bites all over me. It's pissing me off. I got no signal here. Come on, guys. I gotta release stuff. Come on.
Well, we have a bigger dog.
They're quiet. They're quiet.
Not sure what I want to do yet.
The past 5 years we are.
All right, igniter, distributor. All right, so cranking and key on, we should have power. I know you guys ain't gonna see this very well, but I will do my best because of the glare.
And we can't for 5 years.
All right, so pin 3 should be ignition power, and that's to the injectors. I believe I have that. I'm gonna double check it, but I believe I have that. All right, let's just do some quick checks here. Okay. Okay. After about 20 minutes of trying to figure out what the hell was going on here, I couldn't get my scope or this tool to hook up to the damn flash over there. So just confirming that we've got 12 volts. Let's go to a 20 volt scale. I'm gonna change our division back to 20 milliseconds just for time. All right, we definitely got 12 volts. So where I left off 2 minutes ago, I was trying to check if we had power at the injectors. So that's what we're gonna check now. I do need to go turn the key on. Let's just go ahead and get this unplugged because it's just bending the hell out of my tip. Yep, we got 12 volts going to the injectors. Okay. So if I got it at the injector, let's get our wiring pulled back up. Sorry for the incredibly poor visual here. All right, now we're gonna check if we've got it at the igniter. That's pin number 3, black with red. And we've got 12 volts. Okay, good. All right, so let's go back into here. All right, so let's get back into here. We're gonna do the igniter testing. If this stuff would load. All right, so we're gonna look for, we need this black and blue wire at the igniter and look for a 0 to 5 volt square wave. So black and blue looks like it's pin number 2 on the wiring. All right, there's that. Here's this. I'm gonna go crank it and then I will come back and clear the video so I can watch it. Okay, that looks like I got nothing coming out of that line. All right, so no square volt, no 5 volts. All right, so now it says, all right, we did number 1. That was scope the blue and black wire. We look for a 5 volt square wave signal while cranking. We've got nothing. If there's no 5 volt square wave on the blue and black ignition wire, signal cranking, scope the crank sensor across the red and green wires and look for a clean, consistent AC sine wave, about 4 volts peak while cranking. All right, let's go check that. Where's the crank sensor? All right, found the crank sensor. Way down there, see that red and green wire? That's what we gotta trace back on. That's what we need to scope out. So let's do that. All right. All right, guys, we're back probed into the crank sensor, and now we're gonna check for some AC sine wave. We go 5 volt scale. We're gonna put you guys right here to watch over it.
You want some duct tape?
All right, so let's stop this. Let's go back up. Come on. All right, it's just gonna be easy. All right, I'm gonna go crank it and see if we've got a crank signal on here. I will be right back, guys. All right, let's stop that. And let's see. There we go. Not high voltage on there though, huh guys? We've only got about 1.5 volts on that. It's a pretty poor signal. There we go. That's much better. Still only tracing maybe 3.2 volts at max. I'm going to assume that's probably cylinder 1, I would assume. Alright, let's see what our next step is. You got the screw to this?
Let me see. Yeah,
Where it was mounted?
it was mounted with this thing here underneath. This was
Yeah,
underneath.
do you have the screws that... Oh, this was under this bracket?
No, I can't remember.
There should be 2 bolts for that.
I got that. Well, that was a booger to get off of there after 20-some years.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Okay, so I just wanted to touch base with you here. You just saw the motor start and stall, start and stall. So, like I said before, the customer put his own parts in. And because he didn't bolt the igniter back down to the bracket, it wasn't externally grounded. I didn't know that it needed to be grounded. I had figured that out at this point, and that's why I asked him for those screws. Because when I got back to this vehicle to recheck the diagnosis, it was a crank no start. It still is technically a crank no start, but it's a crank start and then stall. Kind of like a security issue like I mentioned earlier. But let's get back to it. I just wanted to let you know that.
How do we know that that new part is not defective?
We don't at the moment because your car, let's ask you this, the car didn't do that before, right?
It did exactly what it's doing now.
Okay, but it did something different because we didn't have it mounted to the hardware there. That's why now it does that, where before all it did was crank. It would start and then stall. Now we're getting that. So everything I just did was of absolute no reason because it wasn't plugged in, it wasn't grounded. So now I have to just go a different direction, which is fine. But I didn't know, I don't remember the other day is more like a better word to say there. So let me double check on spark now again.
You want me to kick it over?
I gotta go get my tester first. I think I put it away. Oh no, I didn't. It's right there.
That little tube thing.
Yeah, it's right here. All right, let me get this set and then I'll have you crank it for me. All right, go ahead, young man. Okay. We got spark. So now, what the hell are we dealing with? So we probably have injector pulse that's cutting out after 2 seconds. So we're gonna Check that side. I'm gonna keep you there. Give me 1 second to get this back probed. It's old, so it's just bending my tips. Jesus, come on. You can't push through the rubber, and it's just bending the crap out of the tip. Or I just have shitty tools, one or the other. Come on, man. Okay, we're doing this unplugged. Because I can't get the fucking thing in there. Alright, so let's change this back to DC. 20 volt scale. Play. Okay, hit it. Okay, you can leave that there for a second.
We're on or off?
Leave the key on.
On?
Yep. So I got a signal. And then looks like it cuts out after 2 seconds, just like they were saying in some of these here. Okay, so different search. We do injector pulse this time instead of no spark, no pulse, because the module not being bolted down stopped us from having that. Okay, so we need to go back to our original thought process here, guys. So with our scope, we need to back probe that IGT signal, because it looks like that IGT signal is supposed to be a square wave, and I don't think I had a square wave now that I think about it. So we're going to double check that and make sure we had that. I think I had a pretty ugly pattern. So let's go check. Oscilloscope. And I had that ugly pattern because we didn't have a ground, so we have to double check that. I can't see it. Okay. Gonna do 20 seconds. We're gonna put a trigger up.
Electrocardiac, man, when I go to the doctor.
It does, right? So 5 volt scale. All right. Want a cranker? All right. That's fine. All right, let's watch this signal now that I have a proper ground on the tool, on the part. All right, you're good there. All right, let's go back. All right. We're only getting about 3 volts on that. Oh, shoot, what did I just do? Touch the screen. Definitely not square wave. Definitely not 5 volts. This is a pulsed voltage from the ECM to the igniter to turn the transistor on and off inside the igniter for the igniter to pulse the coil negative to ground. If the IGT signal has a good 5 volts while cranking, okay, we don't have a good signal. The voltage from the ECM may be 5 volts or 10 to 12 volts, but the igniter will pull the voltage low with the key on, engine off. When cranking, should be pulsing from the reference voltage values and pulsing the ground every time the coil pulses the ground. The relay short MS reading in the IGT signals from the ECM can also set the code. If seeing 2 milliseconds or so of time, the IGT signal is at 5 volts. Back probe and scope the crank position sensor on the red wire and look for a good AC sine wave. But that doesn't tell me why I don't have a good 5 volts square wave. Okay, let's do, hang on 1 second. Go ahead. That looks like a relatively decent signal from the crank sensor. All right, you can leave it there. Yeah, we're gonna swap this back to your old part real quick, because I don't know if that new one is giving me stupid readings or not. Because everything that I'm testing is pointing to, like I was mentioning, a possible PCM issue, but I don't believe that. I don't want to believe that. That's very few and far in between to have that type of concern. But the crank signal is okay. But if this matches it, then more than likely that's where we're at. But we'll double check. It can't hurt to double check. Okay. Take this back. There. Alright, so let's change this back to a DC voltage, 5 volt scale. Alright, let's hit it again.
Pedal down?
No, just leave the pedal there. Just crank normal. I might have you do it once or twice. Much better signal. Okay, hit it again. One more time. Okay, that's good. Thank you. All right, so we need to see how long it's holding this on for. It's about 23 milliseconds. So that one that you bought is bad, but it's bad in its own way. I'm getting 4.5 volts going to this one, and that one was pulling it down and only giving me about 2.5 volts on a very ugly. This is a nice square wave right here, how it goes up and over and down. That other one, if you saw it before, went up diagonal and then it shut off at like 3.2 volts. I'm supposed to have this type of signal for that. So doesn't mean this one isn't bad, but that one definitely is junk. So we're gonna restart at the beginning with this part in here with a crank no start. So as of right now, we're doing that right now. We're back probing the IGT signal, which is the blue and black wire. Blue and black wire is on pin number 2, and that's what I'm in right now. Look for a 5 volt square wave. We have that, okay? If the IGT signal has a good 5 volt square wave while cranking, back probe and scope the IGF signal, which is the black and yellow wire at the igniter. So that would be black and yellow, which is pin 1, sorry. It's this one. So this is the next one that we'll put on the scope line. Okay, let's go back. All right, so we're going to back probe it at the igniter. The voltage from the ECM may be 5 volts or 12 volts, but the igniter will pulse the voltage low with the key on, engine off. When cranking, the IGF signal should be pulsed from the reference voltage values to ground, pulsing every time the coil negative pulses the ground. All right, so we're going to turn this on. We're going to change our scale to 20 volt scale. We're going to get rid of that lock. And we're going to pull this down a little bit. Okay, let's crank her again there, young man. All right, let's see what kind of signal we get out of here. Now we're looking for either a 5 or a 12 volt signal. Hang on. Let's go 5 volt. Go ahead. Voltage from the ECM might be 5 or 12 volts, but the igniter will pull the voltage low with the key on, engine off. When cranking, the IGF signal should be pulsing from the reference voltage at 5 or 10 volts down to ground, pulsing to ground every time the coil negative pulses. It says a really short millisecond reading on the IGT signal, but I don't have any of that whatsoever. So that tells me I believe that the igniter is junk, because the igniter is not pulling that signal down. At the ignition control module, check the IGF. There should be a 5 volt sawtooth pattern. When cranking, disconnect the igniter with the key on, check for 5 volt reference on the IGF wire from the computer. So the IGF, I believe, is the one we're in. So it says unplug and make sure. Got nothing on that line. Nada.
So the last time you came out, you determined that igniter was not was no good. The one that you put back in here. So why don't I just go pick up a new one and get it over with?
Because I want to make sure. Before you spend $200, I want to confirm that what I said the other day is right.
Okay.
When you plug that one in, a completely different problem happens.
Yeah.
If that thing screwed something up, I need to make sure that that's okay. Because right now, according to the information, that igniter is dead. But also, now it's telling me that I should have a 5 volt reference, which I'm pretty sure I had the other day, going to that igniter, and I don't have that anymore. So I'm trying to confirm that that's what I really need before I take the next step. If I confirm that what I'm reading on that one wire is okay, then I should be fine. But this is why I say. So on this line here, it says that it should go to 5 or 12 volts when I pin this line. Is the key on?
No.
Let's turn the key on. That might be why. Okay, there's your 5 volts. Yep. Sorry, I thought I had you leave the key on. So on line 1 right here, it jumps up to 4 volts or so. So right there, 4 point whatever volts and change. That's coming from the PCM. So when you were cranking it, this igniter is not pulling it down to ground. So yes, my original diagnosis that I said the other day, I would say still stands at this moment. So buying that one online was a bad choice. Yeah. And when you do it, it has to be screwed in.
Screwed into
the bracket.
Oh, okay.
That we found out today also, because it is the ground control. It's a good ground on it. So, all right, let me clean all this up, and then we'll go the next route here. All right, well, that was the Tacoma. So Yep, you can see a couple of problems there, which are all my problems. And that's okay. They're minimal problems. Again, I don't mind if the customer is there. I just need to get better at boundaries. I need to make sure the customers understand their boundaries and where they need to be. They can watch, but they need to stay in the way, and they can not ask me questions, especially when I'm trying to talk to the camera and I'm trying to diagnose their car at the same time. I know that's two different things I'm trying to do at one time, and that kind of makes me, you know, a little forgetful, but my own shortcomings and the things I got to deal with. But so you'll see in there, or you saw in there, the igniter needs to be bolted down. Otherwise, it does not get the proper signal because we're losing ground through it. It's ground case. And second, I almost screwed up with the 5 volts going to it because I didn't have the key on, because again, I let the customer be part of it, and that's my own fault, and I got to work on that. So anyway, we proved that the igniter is no good. He's going to purchase the correct one this time, hopefully, but if he doesn't, it's not my problem any longer. At this moment, it is 100% on him, and he's going to be paying me again for diagnosing it again, because he, not going to say didn't believe me. I tried to come out there to help him and prove to him that the part he bought was wrong, because again, I'm trying to make sure I do right by my customers and make sure that they're not getting the crap end of the stick, especially when they're buying junk online. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm on to my next one. I got to go do a water pump on a Dodge Ram 5.7. So at least it's just some monotonous, boring work. Get done with it. But that's about it, guys. Like always, I appreciate you. If you appreciate if you like, as always, I appreciate you guys. If you like what we're doing, hit like, subscribe, share with somebody. We appreciate you. See you later.